They arrived with bulldozers at dawn. 5 enormous batteries were set up on my family's farm without permission. The HOA lady in her yellow dress stood there, jabbing her finger in my face, insisting it was all perfectly legal. I crossed my arms and stood my ground. When I warned her about building on land she didn't understand, she just laughed. 3 days later, 25 million worth of batteries disappeared into my soil in seconds. How far would you go when strangers start building on your property? My name's Tom Harrison. I'm 42 years old, and the 80 acres you're looking at have been in my family since 1947. My grandfather, Robert Harrison, bought this land after coming back from the Pacific with shrapnel in his leg and a fire in his soul. The eastern section, where this all went down, was always his pride and joy. Tricky land, he called it. Needs a special touch. He spent years mapping the underground water channels and crafting a clever drainage system, a system that'd prove vital in ways no one could have guessed. 5 years ago, Pine Ridge Development broke ground just north of my property line. Their billboards promised luxury country living without the hassle. Soon, 3 million homes replaced the old Carter family cattle ranch. With those houses came the Pine Ridge Homeowners Association, 500 pages of rules dictating everything from mailbox colors to watering schedules. I still remember their president, Edward Grayson, rolling up in his golf cart. "Mr. Harrison," he said with a polished smile, "we'd love for you to join our association. There are real benefits to aligning our community's look." I turned him down politely, figuring that'd be the end of it. I was wrong. Last Tuesday started like any other spring morning. I was up before sunrise, checking irrigation lines before the day heated up. As dawn broke, I spotted odd lights in my eastern field, the part my grandfather had worked so hard to tame. Driving closer, I froze. Construction vehicles, workers in hard hats, and 5 huge white cylindrical structures were being planted on land my family had held for generations. I threw my truck into park and charged toward the chaos, certain there'd been a colossal mix-up. No one builds on another man's property without permission, not in Montana, not anywhere. "What the hell's going on here?" I demanded, confronting the nearest worker. He barely looked up. "Talk to management," he muttered, pointing to the center of the site. There she was, a woman about 30, in a tight yellow dress totally unfit for a muddy field, a safety vest tossed over it like an afterthought, and heels sinking into my dirt. Behind her loomed 4 giant batteries, already half installed, with equipment buzzing around them. The morning sun lit the scene, making the batteries glow unnaturally against my farm's rugged backdrop. I marched straight toward her, stopping about 10 feet away. She noticed me and instantly squared up, pointing her finger like a weapon. "This is a restricted construction zone," she barked. "You need to leave now." I crossed my arms, feet planted wide in my worn jeans, work boots, and faded jacket, a sharp contrast to her glossy look. "I'm Tom Harrison," I said firmly. "I own this land, 80 acres. Been mine for 15 years, my dad's before me, his dad's before him. The only one living is you, with those batteries and your gear." Her eyes narrowed as she kept pointing. "Claire Evans, Executive Director of Sustainable Development for Pine Ridge HOA. These are Tesla Megapack battery top-tier energy storage. This project's fully approved and I've got the paperwork to prove it." Between us stood a fresh sign, HOA Private Batteries, a bold claim on my family's ground. She waved a document from her clipboard without handing it over. "We've got all the permits. The county greenlit our easement last month under the Rural Infrastructure Modernization Act. It's all legal." I eyed the county letterhead and stamps from where I stood. "This is impossible," I said, keeping my voice steady despite the fury boiling inside. "I never got any notice about an easement." She smirked. "It was published in the County Register's legal section. Section 12B of the Regional Planning Code allows critical infrastructure with proper public notice." Dust swirled as a loader hauled more materials. The image, her in that yellow dress, pointing at me standing firm, batteries towering behind, would later hit the news. "Those tiny notices no one reads?" I said. "That's how you steal land?" Claire's lips curled into a tight smile. "The law doesn't need your approval, Mr. Harrison, just your compliance." She glanced at her fancy watch. "These batteries going on schedule with or without your blessing." As she turned away, I stepped forward. My grandfather didn't fight in Okinawa so some HOA could swipe his land with paper tricks. She paused, a flicker of annoyance breaking her polished mask. Mr. Harrison, this is a DULA 25 million renewable energy investment federal grants, state support, county approval. Your nostalgia's sweet but irrelevant. Two security guards appeared nearby, hands near their belts. You'll get DULA 5,000 for the easement, she added. Generous for farmland. It's just 2 acres. It's not about money, I growled. This land's not for sale, not 2 acres, not 2 feet. Her facade cracked, revealing the shark beneath. This isn't a discussion. The easement's approved. Construction rolls on. Interfere and you'll face consequences. A guard stepped up. Sir, step back from the zone. Zone. I snapped. This is my eastern field. I was planting sunflowers here next week. Claire smirked. Not anymore. Progress waits for no one. Accepted and cashed the check. I watched fuming as they kept unloading batteries. One was already on a concrete pad poured days earlier without my knowledge. From another angle, I saw they placed them to block the mountain view from my house, the vista my grandfather built our home to frame. This wasn't just batteries, it was personal. At the county office, a time capsule of 1970s paneling and stale coffee. I waited 2 hours. Dan Miller, the land manager and my dad's old fishing pal, finally emerged. Tom, he said, regret in his eyes, hoped you wouldn't show. Did you know Dan? About the HOA building on my land? He rubbed his head and led me to his cluttered office, pulling a binder labeled Regional Development Plan 2023 to 2030. It's a green energy push, he said. State got DULA 400 million federal cash, had to fast-track projects. Commissioners were encouraged to ease approvals. Ease approvals to build on private land without asking? He pointed to a highlighted rule. New amendment published notice in the paper counts as legal notification for critical projects. That's nuts, I said. No one reads that. I know, he whispered. But it's not just energy. Pine Ridge wants to expand. Your land's between their homes and their next phase. A land grab dressed up as green energy? Dan didn't answer directly. Commissioners get tax revenue promises. And Edward Grayson's brother-in-law's on the state energy board that okayed the grants. My fists tightened. This reeks, Dan. It does. But fighting it's tough. These easements have pull up to the state capitol. My phone rang as I left. It was Susan Carter, our family lawyer for 20 years. Tom, I heard about the easement. I've reviewed the filings. Can they do this? Legally, they exploited a loophole in the Modernization Act. We can fight on procedure, but it'll take years and cost a fortune. This land's priceless to me. I know, she said softly. Pine Ridge has a pattern. Last year, they put solar panels on the Miller place with an easement. 6 months later, the Millers sold Chief Farming got impossible with equipment failures, water issues, noise complaints. It's a playbook: easement, pressure, sellout. Back home, 3 batteries stood like alien towers, fenced off with restricted area signs facing my house. My mountain VYW was gone, a calculated gut punch. Next morning, an HOA envelope waited on my door. DULA 5,000 offered, a community partner in VYTE, and a veiled legal threat. I was mulling it over when Joe Parker's truck rolled up. Joe's farmed next door for 40 years, watched my grandfather tame that field. Heard about the HOA mess, he said grimly. It's worse than you think, I replied, showing him the letter. They did this to the Larsons last year: solar arrays, then a buffer zone. Larsons couldn't reach their barn without HOA say-so. Sold for peanuts. Why'd no one fight? Larsons tried. Legal bills sank them. Joe eyed me. This ain't just batteries, Tom. They want your whole spread for their next phase. Seen their brochures. A black Escalade pulled up. Claire stepped out in a suit, with 2 guards and a silver-haired man with a briefcase. Mr. Harrison, she said, smiling, hope you've reconsidered. I have, I said. Those batteries don't belong here. The man stepped up. Victor Grayson, Pine Ridge Properties president. We'd prefer an amicable fix. Nothing amicable about stealing land, I shot back. Victor smiled thinly. No theft, just county rules. Rules you helped write, Joe cut in. Claire glared at him. Mr. Parker, this isn't your business. Stealing farmland is everyone's business, Joe replied. Victor offered DULA 10,000 in club access. Not interested, I said. Claire snapped, this has federal and state backing. Cooperate or suffer. I spent 8 years in the Army Corps of Engineers, I said coolly. I get situations. She studied me, then said, security's here 24/7 now. That's my land. Not the easement, she smirked. Victor handed me a glossy invite. Activation ceremonies in 3 days, governors, reps, feds, press. Join us for unity. After they left, Joe asked, what's your move? I eyed the VIP list. I'll give them what they deserve. That night, I studied my grandfather's maps, tracing the underground channels he'd mastered. The original settlers lost buildings to marshy soil here. He stabilized it, but I could undo that. I called Mike Turner, an old Army buddy now with the Corps. Those megapacks weigh 80 tons each, he said. Need deep foundations in stable soil, deeper and unstable. What are you planning, Tom? Options, I said. Careful, he warned. I know that tone. For 2 days, I played defeated. Claire brought a film crew. I watched from my porch. County inspectors came. I served coffee, asked specs. Nights, I rigged old irrigation gear into a hydraulic system, targeting water flow beneath the batteries per Grandpa's maps. Satellite pics showed the HOA shortcut. Surface concrete pads, no deep pilings, ignorant of Montana's hydrology. The night before the ceremony, thermal imaging revealed overheating batteries and lacked security. Perfect. Ceremony day dawned clear. By 9 a.m., luxury cars lined my field. HOA brass, jittery commissioners, state reps, energy execs, even a congressman showed up. A stage faced the batteries, ribbon ready. Claire approached, champagne in hand. Mr. Harrison, glad you're here. Join us on stage. Wouldn't miss it, I said. She hesitated at my tone. Governor's office call this is a statewide model. National press too. Congrats, I said. You're different today, she noted. Just accepting reality. Did your engineers survey this spot? I asked. Of course, she said. Montana water systems experts? Her confidence wavered. What are you hinting at? Just curious if they caught the aquifer 15 feet down her grandpa's drainage, keeping it stable 70 years. Our engineers assured, ground looks stable till conditions shift, I said. Threatening me. Just sharing family land lore. She rushed off, arguing with an engineer. At 10 a.m., 100 guests buzzed under a Powering the Future banner. Claire, in another yellow dress, glanced nervously my way. Victor spoke. This doula $25 million investment, a rumble cut him off. In my barn, I'd reverse Grandpa's drainage, saturating the soil deep down. The battery's weight pressed it into mush. I triggered the final water surge. A crack split the central pad. Within seconds, all 5 sank, doula $25 million gone in a blink. Claire screamed, what did you do? Mud streaked her dress. Land's got a mind of its own, I said. Swallows what it doesn't want. Press swarmed. No surveys, no consent, I told them. Investigations exposed cut corner, botched permits, fake studies, ignored warnings. Claire quit in shame. Victor bailed as HOA faced millions in losses. My countersuit won big. Cash, an injunction, and Harrison's law, mandating owner notice. Today, wildflowers bloom where batteries sank. Offers come, but I frame them by Grandpa's medals. This land's not for sale. Some lessons stick hard, just ask the suits who lost doula $25 million in 30 seconds.